You do a study of hypnotherapy to determine how effective it is in increasing the number of hours of sleep subjects get each night. You measure hours of sleep for 12 subjects. That's my N, my sample size, and find the mean to be 8.938983 hours. Sample mean, right? It follows, we said, hey, we took 12 subjects. This was the mean we got. This was the standard deviation we got. So that's not going to be sigma. That's going to be S. Sigma is unknown. So we need a T distribution or a T-score. All right, we are constructing a 90% confidence level. That means my alpha was 0.10. That means my alpha over 2 was 0.05. All right, I'm going to show it with the online calculator, but you should practice that error bound again, okay? If you wanted, you should practice it. I'm not going to show all of it, but I'll show you how we get the T-score just to remind us. All right, we had degrees of freedom of how many? Degrees of freedom would be 11 because it's one less than the sample size of 12. So 11 degrees of freedom, 90% confidence level, 11 degrees of freedom, 90% confidence level, 1.796 is where those two cross. All right, 1.796 would be my T-score. 1.796. Right, so you go and you find your error bound, and then you add it to X bar and subtract it from X bar to get that lower bound and upper bound. You should really practice that right now. All right, I'm going to go to my online calculator and do it the quicker way just because our videos are getting a little long, right? But again, just like our previous example, find your error bound, subtract it from X bar, add it to X bar, and you should get the same result that we're going to get right here. You definitely need to practice that. I will ask you to do that by hand on the assessment. All right, we have our N of 12. I don't know why I put a colon there. We have our X bar of 8.983. We have our S of 1.2904. We had our confidence level of 0.90. And sigma is unknown. So we're doing a T distribution. Sigma is unknown. N was 12. X bar was 8.983. Little s was 1.2904. And 0.90 for our confidence level. We get 8.3140 and 9.6520, right? Because we round, the 9 gets rounded up, which carries it one more place over because there was a 7 in that 5th spot, right? So make sure you're practicing rounding as well. That's something that I feel like I've noticed a bit of an error on. Right, so from our online calculator, we give us the confidence interval, parenthesis, 8.3140, comma, 9.6520, end parenthesis. That's how we write our confidence interval. Right, notation does matter. And now we write a summary. All right, we estimate. How confident were we? With 90% confidence. That's us saying, hey, we're 90% sure, or there's a 90% chance or a 90% probability that the actual population mean is between these values. We estimate with 90% confidence that the population average or mean for number of hours subjects sleep each night is between, and here's where we can round. It's a summary. We can round it a little more. 8.31 and 9.65 hours. Again, in your summary, you include the percentage, you include the word average or mean somewhere, all right? We are talking about a population average or mean. So that word population is pretty big as well. You need to include the two numbers as well as the units on those two numbers.